day 3 of being honest. The last 2 days, I couldn't sleep until like 4 a.m. Yeah, I'm confronting my biggest wound at the moment, my visibility wound. You can't do this without help. I've just been making 1 bookmark a day as my self-care, my daily art therapy. I'm not trying to be readily available to people or anything like that. I keep on thinking if I need to edit these videos. Watching me do this is unbelievably boring to me. So I'm like, I've got to cut out some things. I'll journal about it. Let me just collect some more content. Collect myself. I just spent the last couple of months working on my physical well-being, correcting my posture. I have disc issues in my neck and in my lower back. Shout out to Hussein and his team for making me feel like I can heal my body. Finally, someone who's aligned with the way that I think when it comes to well-being, physical well-being anyways. This color is brown. Okay. As I was saying, I spent like the summer basically working on my health, figuring out where the source of my pain is coming from, my physical pain, from the cellular and muscular perspective. And went to the spine doctor and the ortho. I learned that the culture that we're in, everyone's gonna have like spine problems because we're looking down all the time because of our cell phones. When I was talking to the spine doctor, his name is Dr. Isa, and I was like, oh, then I'll just hold my phone like this. And he's like, yeah, but then everyone's gonna have shoulder problems. So no matter what we do, the capacity of our physical body is capped. I felt rather invincible when I was younger, very chaotic. I literally. So anyways, we did a meditation today with my mentor, Grace, just to connect to the fact that my voice is needed now and I'm ready. Ready is a choice. And it was just interesting that she was saying that because I was talking about how I embody the energy of peace. And it's just a choice. I just chose it. There's definitely a blockage with having me choose visibility, full visibility for sure. And I tried and tried and tried to avoid it. But here I am, presenting to you myself as I genuinely am. And the more I practice this, the less I will freeze and the more I'll be able to share what I really want to share and share it in a way that's, I'm not faking a version of myself that I'm not. I feel like a lot of people have tried to impose their idea of what good communication should look like and how I should present myself and like how I should be more animated. And I think that there's a time and place for that, but I really want to focus on the core of just being comfortable being myself, communicating the way that I want to communicate if there were no filters. Right now, there definitely is a filter. I can show you a version of myself that is totally unfiltered. Let me see. So this is what I wrote intuitively about the transformation that I lead for the individual. And this is how I communicate without trying to translate it to whoever's in front of me in a way that I feel like will resonate with them. This is just pure me, which I have never ever shared publicly because I don't know, it's just kind of crazy. Okay, but I guess it's time. So in defining the transformation that I lead for individuals, it is the process of spiritual awakening and embodiment of a sense of global citizenry, so solidified that their commitment remains unwavering in the face of the darkest of nights, to unfold in the coming years and unforeseen challenges that will force them to question everything they fought so hard to secure in this life as the old world paradigm unleashes their final attempt to grasp a dying form of power and control rooted in distorted authority and anti-Christed consciousness. I will take my clients from fear to faith, uncertainty to commitment, confusion to clarity, pain to power, heartache to renewal, and broken to resurrected. I help God's fiercest warriors and most loyal earth angels rise to band together in harmony and union as a force field of infinite light that surrounds the earth as shields from the distortions from the Antichrist. Yes. Okay, so I'm sure people will be really wondering. The words are very specific. I have an interesting relationship to words. I feel like I like to freestyle and use close, but I like the vibe of a certain word, so I might use a word wrong and people are like, that's not how you use that word. So sometimes I get creative. Also, when I write poetry, I don't always like things to rhyme. Sometimes I just like there to be some kind of rhythm. It's like you know the rules, but when you know the rules, then you can just change them with your own creative lens. I've never really been one for tradition for the sake of tradition. That's not something that I particularly resonate with. I respect people who really love a routine sameness, but that's not me. The word that I might need to, that kind of shocked me that I was willing to say out loud, because this is very vulnerable to what's really in my heart. All of the spiritual awakening, and I invested like everything that I have to acquire this wisdom, this data, this mentorship from top tier change makers, visionaries, peace wagers, so that I can distill the information to the collective in a way that evolves our consciousness. I don't know how else to say it. This isn't my term, but I learned it from Vishen, which was one of my mentors. The concept of consciousness engineering or consciousness re-engineering. I do feel like consciousness, the quantum field, I don't really know how to explain the quantum field from a physics lens or a scientific one. That's not my expertise. I'm not good with remembering data or names of specific brain waves. That's not my skill at all. My skill is really energetically felt, reflecting, being a perfect mirror. Okay, so what I wanted to say about this was me when I was dreaming of the offer, like what is behind this transformation that I want to take next gen leaders on, and it doesn't matter. And I know it's confusing that I honed in on executives. So the program is called Conscious Executive Leadership. I feel that my definition of executive is far more spiritually idealistic than the reality of what is the collective paradigm when it comes to executive leaders. And I think that there's definitely a shift happening, and it's definitely at the cusp of critical mass already. There's no uncertainty that the earth, the evolution of the earth is in harmony with the evolution of the consciousness of the beings that reside on it, which include us. So I'm hoping that this program will be a bridge. There's so many people to think about, to consider holding space for. I think one of the things going to Columbia and getting a Ivy level education was to be as close as I possibly could get to the cream of the crop, globally oriented, socially conscious, heading towards this recognition of global citizenry, wanting to raise the standards of all decision-making rooms, boardrooms. When I started getting visions after surviving a terrorist attack 8 years ago, I really had to sit with God, because I was just like, it felt like I connected to the Wi-Fi of the universe right when I realized that I almost crossed over. It was like, oh wow, my life almost just ended literally right now. It was like my soul went to the gates of heaven, or it didn't go to the gates. There was just like, I connected to the Wi-Fi and it was just always there. And then, but then I'm not the Wi-Fi. This separation experience, and I just downloaded the internet. Just how it feels. Like when you download an app, did you have to believe in the app or believe in coding for the app to be fully functional? That's just how it felt to me. This interconnectedness. It's like Avatar, the blue people. I feel like the way I experience myself is that I'm currently playing this avatar, Rachel Farn, and it's like when you play a video game, but you know that you're just playing a character, and then when you're done with that character, you may either play the game again with a different character, but you'll improve your skills in that video game, and then it will reflect on how well you play the game again. And I feel very similarly that the wisdom that I am tapping into is not bound by the wisdom that I acquired in this avatar, this experience as Rachel. There was just not enough time for me to have cultivated the mindset. And so I'm tapping into a well. And this well is where we all belong. We are dewdrops individually, but together we make the ocean. I want to launch a pilot of the program. I'd love to design it, the fully immersive one, to be a 1-year experience. I think that taking someone across a timeline of an entire orbit around the sun is really a kind of deep dive that I'm interested in facilitating. but I feel like a 7-week pilot experience, applied training on a spiritually informed conscious leadership. Spiritually informed meaning that we're led by the higher aspect of ourselves, the voice that comes in your solitude, the whispers of your heart, your soul. But I know that sometimes when I've spoken about the soul, some people don't resonate with it. I haven't been able to really verbalize the things that I feel like I've learned about spirituality from my rigorous academic studies, being in a research lab, being a teaching assistant, totally committing myself, investing in multiple certifications so that I could cultivate a level of excellence needed to lead the next generation. I've always been someone who cared deeply, and I think over the years people were able to see that, because I was elected into many leadership roles. It wasn't because I was perfect. I don't even know how I managed, to be honest. I just came naturally to me. I also want to share all of the yumminess of life that I've got to experience, because I have worked on alchemizing the darkness in my life. And yeah, really sitting with the fact that this life is pretty intense. There's some really intense stuff happening, things that we can't even comprehend. Yeah, it's pretty intense. I hope you haven't become numb. But I think that people have been letting their trauma lead. I think that there should be a standard education program that all heads of states go to. If I'm thinking about how to build a global society, we would just take kind of the guidelines that we hold in place for our countries or our nations, and then I just apply all of the best practices to doing the same thing and getting the whole world situated. How did we form countries in the first place? Okay, maybe there was a bit of violence, and I don't know. I'm not saying that violence is just one part of this current reality. And in terms of my lifetime, do I expect that violence to be eradicated? No, of course not. And does that mean it's a waste of time to advocate for nonviolence? No, it's not a waste of time. Was it a waste of time when the founders of peace education decided after World War II that there can never be another Third World War, and then they built this peace education stuff, and then they died? But did they see the whole world come to peace? Did they see that in their vision of what they would live to see? No. If I could just learn how to talk this way in front of an audience, instead of making a speech and then sounding like a robot, I would love to do that. Getting in front of a stage and just talking like this. Not having to pretending, not performing. I really don't want to perform. transformed. Choosing to allow myself to learn watercolor, something that I just want to do for myself, having nothing to do with saving the planet, very significant for me.